Hello, Team video. Today we're going to take a look at a team which I really enjoyed playing. Well, we actually faced a really horrible lead here in the beginning with Empoleon. It's a little bit difficult to play against this Pokemon with this team, but otherwise, this team went really well for me. Like, I really enjoyed playing this team. I should have played it sometimes a little bit differently because it was pretty late at night where I played it already, but it's a team that I also showcased already on the top team video. And I can definitely confirm this team definitely does work very well. As we can KO the Empoleon here, as we see a Sylveon coming in. I think I misplay this. No, I actually don't misplay this game. I can just go straight for the Blast Burn, going to annihilate this thing as we see a Togekiss coming in, and that's why they didn't really want to swap out here. We have our Charizard with the Wing Attack fast move here on our team, and it just generates energy so fast that we can get to those Blast Burns so much faster. And this was a pretty clean sweep by my team here. Empoleon definitely a little bit tricky. You should be able to deal with it with your Walrein though, and sometimes as well with your Blaziken. Depending if it's like 0 shields, I think you're fine, but otherwise it's a little bit tricky. We see a Scissor coming in here, which only has resisted moves against my Blaziken, but we can just go straight for the Blaze Kick and no worries about this. Bye Scissor, and we can go ahead and go for one Brave Bird now against the Kingdra. So, do we get a shield here as well now with our Blaziken? We do. We put one Pokemon completely into his grave, and now we have one at half health and gave us a shield. But of course, we have to use a shield against the incoming Outrage now, which is fine. We can go for one Icicle Spear here, which should be KOing the opponent's Kingdra. And we will face an Arcanine in the back. And this was actually a little bit more scary than you might think here, because Arcanine would have access to the move Wild Charge. But they're going to go ahead and go for the new debuffing move with the Psychic Fangs here, as they go ahead and go for another one, which is fine, as they are now out of energy. I can go for one Dragon Claw, and this puts them into range where I can just go for 2 Icicle Spears and win this game. So, good game there again. I literally went very positive with this team. This team was amazing. I definitely can recommend you this team. I already said before it would be amazing. And Walrein is still really strong. Like, Walrein honestly is one of the best Pokemon. One core breaker for this team as well though is this Pokemon here, which is going to be the normal Muk. Alolan Muk is pretty fine to be honest, but the normal Muk is a little bit of a tricky one because this Pokemon has access to Thunder Punch and also the Poison Jab. Thunder Punch plus Poison Jab is kinda something that you don't really want to face here with my team. The Thunder Punch will be able to KO the Charizard and also the Walrein sometimes. And also the Poison Jab or the general poison typing will allow it to resist the fast move of our Blaziken. So it's a little bit tricky to deal with this Pokemon, and it's also a little bit tricky to deal with this scenario here right now, as they are going into their Typhlosion. We can go ahead and go for one Blaze Kick, get the final shield by the opponent, but it's going to be a tough one. They go for one Blast Burn. Now we have to try to catch the next Blast Burn onto our Walrein, which works out really well. We can now go for 7 fast moves as they need 3 Incinerates again, and we will be able to knock this thing out. But now we have to try to get to either the Brave Bird or the Earthquake here. Either of them are fine, and we can go for the Earthquake before they throw. They try to double up on their charge moves. Didn't work out for them, as we can now even farm them down and win the game. Next opponent has a Dragonite in the lead. Dragonite lead is pretty common, but the thing that comes in here is something that I really don't want to face, which is going to be the Ampharos here. And Ampharos is kind of a core breaker as well, but it's kind of fine if they come in as a say swap here, as you can kind of get this thing low with your Blaziken, as we can now actually shoot this move up and go for one more fast move and go for one more Blaze Kick and get the final shield or switch advantage, and they actually give me switch advantage. Something that I totally didn't understand at this point of time, because now I can align my Walrein against their Dragonite, but now we see a Magnezone coming in. Magnezone would get one shot by one Earthquake, so they're going to shield this move up, and I kind of tried to catch the Wild Charge here, which didn't work out. They can now go for one Wild Charge, which is fine, and I have to shield here. It's going to be a mirror shot, and I have to get some extra energy for the Dragonite, but they can go for another move. It's going to also only be a mirror shot, and now we have enough energy to go for one Earthquake, go for one Icicle Spear as well against this Dragonite, and we will be able to win the game. But again, this is also a little bit tricky here. Sometimes the scenario, very interesting team by the opponent. Double electric team can be a little bit tough for this team as we have a double weakness to electric. Opponent has a lead here with the Dragon Knight. Very good for us as we see now a Swampert coming in, which is a little bit awkward to be honest, as they have access to Earthquake. I'm going to shield up the first move, and it's a Hydrokin of course, but yeah, there's no way if they want to let this move go through that they can go for an Earthquake still, right? Wrong. And they can still go for an Earthquake here, and this will kinda destroy us, to be honest. We are now one shield down, and it doesn't look good, especially with an Empoleon in the back. So yeah, this game is kinda over, I think. Kinda misplayed as well. If I shielded the Earthquake correctly and like didn't shield the bait, I would have been fine. But like this, I am kinda screwed, to be honest. I can go for another move here with our Charizard, go for another Dragonclaw actually, as they have now a lot of energy. But I can now go into my Walrein, hope that they throw immediately, hope that they throw their superpower here, which they're actually going to do, which is nice. And now we can farm them down with our Blaziken. I really have to hope that they stay in here and I can just fully farm them down. But they of course don't do this, and I can now go for one Brave Bird, going to do more damage than the Blaze Kick, but not enough to KO them by 1 HP in a Dream. I don't think we would have won it either way. If they stayed in a little bit longer with their Dragon Knight, I think we would have, but like, yeah. It's a very close one. Sometimes you still lose some games, of course. This is actually my favorite thing to do with this team. If you face a Trevenant lead, like nowadays I think Trevenant wins against Walrein in the 2-shield scenario, but you can just go for 5 turns and then swap into your fire type in the back. Like the entire team can beat the Trevenant, so there's no real reason for you to stay in the lead there. So we can catch the double resisted move there, we can KO the Smug now, which is nice. And they don't really have anything to go into, and they have their Walrein now, which is amazing for me. As you know, what we have in the back, we have our Blaziken, which is going to be actually the hard answer for both of the Pokemon that they have left. So we're going to try to get some energy from them now. Try to let this move go through, try to swap into Blaziken now, and we see that Trevenant coming in that goes for a charge move here, which is going to be a Shadow Ball, as we can at least go now for one Blaze Kick for this one. Going to still be actually close, I don't know if we can still win this. They can go for another move here in time, which is going to be a Shadow Ball still, and I actually I have to farm them down. I can go for one Earthquake here. Can we get to the next Earthquake in time though? That's the question. And we barely can't. This is going to be another Earthquake by the opponent. We just barely lose this game here. Sad, but good game there to my opponent. As we see the next opponent having a Swampert in the lead here. Fine for us, that's where we want to face it, especially if they have a Snorlax in the back, and we will be able to now actually try to farm this thing all the way down. I'm going to shoot one move up here. They can go for another one. Yeah, I think I can let this move go through, and I should be able to farm all the way down. But let's see, we can actually farm them down. We can go for one Blaze Kick here first, trying to bait out the shield by the opponent as they expect us to go for one Brave Bird. As the Blaze Kick comes through, we can go for still one Brave Bird here. And they actually don't shield this either, so they're super low with this Pokemon. They have a Walrein in the back, but it's kind of tough to be honest. We have to kind of get the shields here now. They're going to go and shield up my Icicle Spear, which is nice. I'm going to try to swap onto the Earthquake into my Swampert and my Charizard. Sadly, it's an Icicle Spear, but they still have to throw here, so I'm pretty fine to be honest. They just waste all their energy here now. And I can put them with this Dragonclaw, I think, into range, where I can KO them with just one Earthquake by my other Pokemon. Actually, this was a misplay. I should have tried to get to another charge move here with my Pokemon, but actually maybe not, because now we can now actually go for the Icicle Spears now. I said too much actually there, but we can go for some Icicle Spears here. Now this should be already into range where we can KO them with this. We can take one Earthquake pretty easily, and this Earthquake, and we can see the Swampert actually coming in here. It's kind of crazy. But if they still need an Earthquake, we can go for one Icicle Spear. This should do enough damage, hopefully, and it does not, but we can farm them down, and we will be able to win this game. This team is also pretty accessible for most people, I think. Like, most people have all the Pokemon, to be honest. They're also all pretty cheap. You need 4 legacy moves actually. 4 legacy moves for this team. Of course, you can still run the Dragon Breath version of the Charizard if you don't have the version with the Wing Attack. But I think Wing Attack in Ultra League is something that you kind of want to have. It's a little bit better in my opinion. This team struggles though a little bit against Milotic, as you can see here, this Pokemon. A little bit difficult to deal with this thing. We should be able to still take one Surf and might get to another charge move, but I'm actually going to swap out now, trying to go for the farm down, or like trying to go for one more to get to then the Blaze Kick, but they overfarmed I think by one against the Walrein already, so it's a little bit tricky. We can go and KO this thing actually, and we will see a Swampert in the back. So basically this was the hardest possible counter for this team. Double water in the back is not the best for double fire in the back. Some games you just cannot win, and this is fine. Other games you can bait out the Swampert, which is exactly what you want to do with this team. Go for some Dragon Claws with your Charizard and you should be pretty golden. As we're actually going to shield this move up, and I make a mistake here by overfarming a little bit too much. And now they have another Hydro Cannon. We have to shield up again because we would get KO'd because they are Shadow and not non-Shadow. But because they're Shadow, they have to shield our moves as well. So we get both shields back anyway. They're still going to be able to KO us here, but it is fine, as we should be able to actually farm all the way down now with our Walrein before they can get to a move maybe? Yeah, okay, they can only get to Hydro Cannon here. And I have to be a little bit careful that they swap out here, and I predicted this, swapping perfectly onto the Shadow Ball, which I was hoping wasn't a Shadow Ball. But I can at least KO this thing now. I was really hoping it was a Seed Bomb, but sadly I'm wrong. And now we see another Walrein by the opponent. And sadly we are missing out by like a one fast move again to get to 2 Earthquakes in time, because we were just barely at an Earthquake. And they got 2 fast moves basically for free in there. So sadly another loss here, but it's fine. As we can see the next opponent coming in, we see a Muk against us. This should be again a pretty horrible matchup actually. I mean, it's pretty neutral to be honest. What I do against Muk in the lead is I just shield everything. I just go for debate all the time for Icicle Spear. And at the end of the day, I'm going to lose this matchup pretty closely. Like it's going to be like around, I don't know, right half, where I can just farm him down with Blaziken later on, so it's fine. You can just go straight for the Icicle Spear at this point of time. You will not be able to reach the next Earthquake in time, I'm pretty sure, as they go now for one more charge move, yeah, exactly. And you see they're on red health. I can farm them down with even the Blaziken here. But they actually go into their Walrein, which is nice for me. And what I'm going to do here is, I'm just going to flex a little bit and catch the Earthquake on our Charizard. We can go ahead and go for one Dragon Claw now, and we will be able to KO this thing. Before they can do anything, we have a Brave Bird loaded on our Pokemon in the back, and we will see here that they're going to have a Trevenant in the back that definitely doesn't want to face my Blaziken in the back, which is very nice for us. They are now going to try to swap into their Muk. I can farm them down. I can go for one Brave Bird here to KO the Trevenant in the back. This team is so good against like Trevenant, it's kind of insane, so get all the Trevenants on me. I definitely like them very much. As we see the next opponent here having a Trevenant again. Let's do what we always want to do. We go for 5 fast move, and then we swap out into our Charizard, which is going to be able to take those Seed Bombs pretty easily, as we see a Nidoqueen that we bait out here, a Shadow Nidoqueen. This is most likely some very high ranked one actually. Goes one below the actual max CP for 100% version, but of course it's best buddied, so it's most likely something like, I don't know, 90% version or something. As we can go for an Icicle Spear, is still enough for them to survive it. I'm going to shield it because I think they were already at an Earth Power, but they go for the Poison Fang. As we see now the Snorlax coming in, and of course Blaziken against Snorlax is a very good matchup for us. Blaziken will be able to just farm this thing all the way down, and we see the Trevenant coming in now, which also doesn't really enjoy Blaziken. Blaziken in general is such a core breaker in this meta, it's kind of funny. As we see a Seed Bomb coming through, doesn't do enough damage, we see the Snorlax coming in, we can go for one more Blaze Kick here, trying to get the shield and go for another Blaze Kick and win this game. Blaziken is just such a good sweeper end game. So yeah, let's see the next opponent here. We're going to see a Walrein against Trevenant again. What we can do again is go for 5 fast moves and swap into our Charizard and catch the Seed Bomb. It's just so simple, to be honest. They always throw immediately. It's kind of nice. As we see an XL Steelix, not XL actually, you cannot have XL, but it's a best buddy Steelix, 100% at level 51 I think it is. So that's kind of crazy, as we can now go for one Blast Burn, get the shield from the opponent. I actually kind of wanted to shield here, but I decided not to, and I should have went for the Dragon Claw now, but I didn't, so fine. We can go ahead and go into our Walrein. Why Walrein over the what's called over the Blaziken is mainly because of Psychic Fangs. Of course, Psychic Fangs would be super effective. I overfarmed too much here. That was definitely a misplay on my part, and it doesn't even KO, but we can farm them down, which is fine for us. We see the Obstacle coming in, and now we get a ton of energy. We're going to shield this up because I don't want to get Shadow Clawed down, and now we should have a pretty decent matchup against this Trevenant with our Blaziken, and we should be able to pretty easily win this final game here with some Blaze Kicks, some counter damage against the Obstacle later on, and we still even have our Walrein in the back. This team definitely works out really well. I can highly recommend it to you. I had some great fun with it and had some great games with it. And that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching. See you next one. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.